You're listening to the LaRocque Life Podcast, where hosts Michael and Laura explore relationships, adventure, freedom, and just some all-around real and raw conversations. Drawing from their 17 years together with a bit of sarcasm, humor, tears, a few and lots of love. They deep dive into the male and female perspective on relationships and navigate the highs and lows of life together. Sit back, grab your love mug, and let's get into today's conversation.
All right. Episode 28, Laura. Did it. What are we talking about today, babe?
Today we're going to talk about overwhelm. And if you are the person who is struggling with finding time for whether that's yourself, your partner, your children, maybe going after some goal or dream, or even starting a hobby that you've been thinking about, or you even have problems turning off from the world. And that's a big topic right now, turning off from the world. But we want to give you some tips to create some intentional space in your life by cutting out the noise and the distraction.
Right.
Not adding in more stuff.
There's no shortage of stuff, eh?
Right.
And distraction.
Yeah. And I mean, stuff can be physical stuff, energy stuff, emotional stuff, mental stuff, right? And I was just telling you right before we pressed record how I think that this is such an important topic that a lot of people aren't having because we're so focused on like, I need to add this in, like I need to focus on eating healthier. I need to wake up earlier in the morning and get like this workout in. I need to do all of this stuff before I go to work.
Yeah.
Or come home. I can't even think of something you would do when you would come home. But I think a step that we're missing is like first cleaning the slate, clearing everything, right? Like taking a hard look at our life and being like, what's not serving me right now? Like energetically, emotionally, mentally, physically, what is not serving me? And let's take care of that first and then intentionally add more.
Right.
So that we have more of this time with our partners and for ourselves and for our children, and we can build and work on our relationship from an intentional place, not this like triggered firing, like nervous system firing, just like always on, always frustrated.
Just fried, right?
Yeah. Just feeling fried place. So today we want to just kind of talk a little bit about what that looks like. I mean, for ourselves in our personal lives and our individual lives, but then obviously in our relationship and in our family life. And then we want to leave you with some tools too, and some actual, like an actual kind of challenge for you to do this week that you're listening to this, where you will go out and you will cut out some noise and some distraction from your life. Yeah.
And again, we're not you don't have to reinvent the wheel in a week or in a day.
No.
I know I go through this a lot, and I think maybe just because as I'm getting older at my age, I like through my 20s, and I think that's just life. You have to check stuff out and try different things. And
of course.
You have to, right? And if you're not, then what's the point? But I was trying everything and anything, and like, which is a good thing. It got me to where I am now, but I would never give anything a chance, like to roll out if it wasn't, again, just instant gratification. Just again, the times we're in is, try it for a month usually, or give it a good go. And then it was like, it just kind of fizzled out. And that was one thing, whether it's like waking up early in the morning or working out or doing all the things that you did talk about, right? And not giving them a chance to really stick and become a habit. It was always just like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? Oh, this didn't make me feel good. What's the next thing? And if you give, everything is great out there. If you give it an actual opportunity to grow and to cultivate that in your own life and how it works, I think most things would work for you. Yeah. It's just, I never give it a shot anyway. I know that.
Oh, why do you think you never gave it a shot?
Again, it's just that instant gratification. That's how I feel like I've been that way almost my whole life. I just never gave anything long enough to really, I just always wanted that next, like always striving for that next step, but never actually just letting something grow into what it could be, right? To be honest, this relationship with you is like the longest thing that I've had in my life, really. So it's been the same thing, right? Like we were going through so much shit at the start because I think I had some idea in my head or how a relationship should be, and it wasn't. I was in no shape to even be in a relationship, but as things progress and as it's grown and as time's gone on, and I've learned, and we've struggled, we've had some real ups, real downs, and just going through all those steps and everything that's included with that, now I'm on the tail end. Like, I mean, it's a progression always will be, right?
We're never perfect.
No,
We're
forever
and
will be a
growing.
progression. But I gave that enough time now that I'm starting to reap those benefits of having a good relationship. And if shit goes off the rails, we get it on track fast, right? It's not, we don't sit in the shit so much anymore, which, I mean, there's still lots of, and it doesn't change. I don't think that never goes away, but just how fast you can reset and get going again in the right direction. And it helps. Like, we both have the same North Star. We're both striving towards something that I think we have the similar end goal, at least anyway. Right. So it's, that goes a long way, and just finding you that was able to stick it out with me. Right. Like, there have been so many times that we should have just threw in the towel.
Did you say that you wished you would have threw in the towel?
No, so many times we should have.
Oh, I thought you said so many times I wished I threw in the towel.
Oh, fuck no. Get out of here.
Okay.
We're putting words in my mouth, lady.
Good to know now.
But no, just like, honestly, I mean, it's to ride it out this long, or as long as we have, it's just, now we're reaping the benefits of it. So it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
But going back, I really wish there's a few things I wish I would have stuck out like those long, right? Or even with jujitsu, I wish I would have started years ago, so that I would have, but stay with it so that you're progressing through, right? It's like, oh, fuck, I didn't get a belt promotion this month. What the hell, right? Whereas, like, they take 2, 3, 4 years to get different belts, like, depending where you're at and how things are progressing. So it's a long game. It really is. It's just like life, but you always want the next thing, and you always want that
shiny new object. So,
and I don't know why, right? It's crazy.
Well, from what you're saying, I'm just kind of like getting this, like, I mean, I say this from a place of love, like a lack of discipline, right? Like a lack of self-discipline to follow through, which is masculine, right? A wounded masculine trait of not following through something. But backing that up, it's like that shiny object syndrome, the instant gratification that you're talking about. But I think that paired with never really following something through in your life, and then this is what we're going to talk about, is like noise and distraction, like just things that are constantly popping up and coming up, and then like you lose track of that North Star, right?
Absolutely.
Like, what am I working towards? Because I just got inundated with like 30 emails last night that's talking about 30 different subjects, and now I completely forgot about like that thing that I was excited
that thing
about
you
last
actually
week,
wanted,
that I wanted. And I think lots of times too, we don't even really know what we want.
No, that's
because,
a huge one. Yeah.
Again, all of the noise and the distraction.
It is.
So,
you don't know what we want in life. You don't even know what you want in a relationship. You don't know what you want in a partner. You don't even know what you want for a career or a job.
Yeah.
Like,
you just kind of take what comes along.
Falls into place, right? Like, that's how I was living so, what the hell's the word? But I just had no direction in my life. It was just, life was happening to me. And it was just like, here's your job. Okay. You want, you want more money. You got to go to school. Okay. I'll do that. And then things just kept falling into place. But I was just going with the flow, and I was not being intentional with my life at all with anything.
Yeah. And I think there is a point of going with the flow, but also knowing that you have to follow through. Like, what did I just say to Lennox at Costco today? Because I was, whatever you're talking about. Oh yeah. Because he always wants to go down the toy aisle. And I'm like, okay, we're going to do all of our shopping first, and then we can go down the toy aisle. And I said to him, that's like a good lesson for life, buddy. You do the hard things first, and then you get to reap the benefits. But then I was like, well, that analogy kind of sucks too, because I've learned in my life that you can have the good things with the hard work. It doesn't need to necessarily be like hustle, hustle, hustle. Your energy has everything to do with what you do. So as soon as those came out of my mouth, those words came out of my mouth, I was like, well, yes and no. You have to have discipline and hard work and follow through, but you still get to like feel good and enjoy things along the way as well. So,
but that works for toddler in Costco.
Yeah, it got us through that. I mean, he said okay, so we got our groceries.
Costco,
and then we spent about, like 15 minutes down that one toy aisle, and I was like, you would think this kid's never left the house. He's like, oh my God, look at this. Look at that.
I thought he was going to be amazed by the flooring, the way he was like, everything he touched, like, whoa.
So, I mean, speaking of noise and distraction, it was like, I think sensory overload with him. And that's what happens to us. So let's get into this with the nervous system. This is the thing. We're always on. We're always connected. We hold these little contraptions in our hands that connect us to every single thing 24/7. So you're connected to your work, you're connected to social media, you're connected to your emails, you're connected to, anyone who wants to text you or call you, or you've always said this too, where like gone are the days when you sit and actually have a conversation about something. And if neither of you are really sure, you might kind of like talk it out and be like, well, I think, or I
Yeah.
remember. Now it's just like, let me Google it. I'll find
Yeah,
out the
that's
facts.
a big one at work with the guys at coffee and stuff. You can't, like, there's always bullshitters all the time back in the day, right? Now you can't bullshit. There's always someone in the corner like, "Whoa, Wikipedia says."
Yeah, exactly.
So it's hilarious. Well, it's not hilarious. It's just that's the life we're in now,
Well,
right?
it is what it is, right? And so the thing with this is there's like pings going on here, a text here, a phone call here, TV distraction here, like everything is coming at us that a lot of us aren't taking intentional time to slow down and to cut those things, like intentionally cut those things out of our life. We're just kind of like in this mode of, it's just our reality, right? Like we're on that frequency. So it's just like all this stuff going on.
It really is.
But then what happens is your nervous system is fried. And I mean, I think if you're listening to this, you probably know when I say your nervous system is fried. You do not have any patience.
No. Right? I know that was a big one for myself.
Yeah, like
for sure.
Could snap at the drop of a hat, right?
Generally, it's our partner or like your kids that take the brunt of that. And fuck, man. And I know myself. I felt so bad after, and then it was just a cycle, right? Because then I felt bad about it, and I would even like then I'd be worse because it's like you got to be better, and then you're not better, so then you snap again, and you're like, what am I doing? Yeah. So I was in a really bad cycle, and that was almost. It's basically like a year ago now with this in fall, like with work, because I was so fried with work because I was obviously got an office job with the phone, like constantly on my phone with emails and texting and doing all kinds of things, all hours of the night. And like, I just couldn't shut off. And then you wake up in the morning and go to work and whatever, 6 to 7 in the morning. And you're just constantly like, it just wasn't stopping ever. And the thing that really bothered me was the evening emails, which I finally cut out. I just stopped. So if you email me in the afternoon, in the evening for work anyway, you're not getting anything. But those problems would come up and their big issues would pop up, but there's not a single fucking thing I can do about it from home, right?
Yeah.
So I would I know, and I would sit there and just get madder and madder at home, and like I was so disconnected from you guys. I feel so bad. I can almost picture it like a movie now, where I just sitting on the couch, like just thinking over 20 different things, and like your kids are playing around you, your wife's trying to talk to you, and you're just like, I'm just out in fucking no man's land, right? And then Lennox does something, and then I fucking snap at him like. I wish he was where he's at now, because you just punch me like, hey, so who are you? Want to play dad now? Like,
or what did he say? What did he call you?
He called me a dickhead yesterday.
I was putting him to bed the other night, and then I can't remember. Mike took something. Oh yeah, he wanted to sleep with this bag that has a string on it. We're like, you can't sleep with a bag that has a string on it. It will get wrapped around your neck. And then so Mike took it away into the kitchen. I was putting him to bed, and he said, "Dad's being a dickhead."
I know, I mean, obviously, I don't swear too much, so I don't.
I'm not sure where he gets it from.
No, but I can't even blame him for that stuff, because like I don't feel bad about that. Like you calling it out, like call it as it is, man.
Yeah.
Kids now have no respect, and they're changed. Like, well, I shouldn't say that. Either did my generation compared to the last, but I mean, he's gonna say and do those things anyway. At least he's fucking saying and doing it in context, and yeah, like. I'd call myself a dickhead stealing that bag. It's like, yeah, I might strangle myself in the middle of the night, but still, I want that bag.
You're still a dickhead. Yeah. I didn't even know he knew the word, but anyways, coming back to this, why don't you say what you said to me about looking at our phones more than looking at our partners?
Oh yeah, I know. Hey, that was just before this. It's like, oh, coin that one. But my screen has a couple cracks on it, and I was telling Laura, I was like, "Fuck, man, I feel like I know these cracks on my phone better than you know your partner's face, or any like even." I know
you say the wrinkles are the lines on your partner's face.
Yeah, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that.
I'm going to call you out.
Yeah, so I'd say you know that better than the wrinkles on your partner's face, but it's like the old saying, like the back of your hand. No one even knows what the fucking back of their hand knows or looks like anymore, because you're constantly looking at your phone. So. Like I know everyone could probably draw out like their apps on their home screen, like exact locations and things like that. And it's so fucked up, but myself included, I'm stuck in that cycle. Like a lot of people, I catch myself a lot and try to be better, but I'm still in it 100%. I can't sit here and do a bunch. Like we're all learning this. We're a giant experiment right now. Cause I remember when I was a kid, what the fuck was like obviously you had like Nintendos and Super Nintendos, but you had your Game Boy, and then Sega had their own kind of Game Boy thing, and it had like there was a game cartridge you can put in and you can watch TV on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like an antenna. You get
so,
CBC.
Like, so futuristic.
Yeah, and like that was massive, life-changing stuff, right? And you're like, man, I wonder if it'd be cool if I can talk to Buddy, or if we could play a game together, or all these things. And now it's progressing so fast that we're learning with it, and we don't know the repercussions of it. And I know that it's a big play on myself with depression and stuff like that. Massively.
Well, and I think that's where it comes back to, like, we as human beings have to be intentional every moment on how we're focusing outwards and focusing inwards, because I think we never actually watched the Social Experiment.
No, we haven't. We talked about it.
Netflix.
We never did.
I mean, I don't want to watch it because I know the gist. I've heard from everyone what it's about.
Makes us matter, yeah.
I know the gist of online marketing, and I mean, I'm sure there's definitely things I could learn from it, but I feel like I don't need to know. I know that social media is a trap. I know that everything is taken from every action that you do or speak, and then turned around to market and target you. Yeah. And essentially they know you better than you know yourself. They know your psychological patterns and behaviors.
Because it doesn't listen to you, right? Like everyone's like, oh, I said that. So it doesn't listen to you. It fucking puts all those pieces together. And then it's going to tell you what you were kind of thinking, or what it's just making that judgment of what's going to happen next or what you need next.
Yeah. And so it's like kind of scary, but also like just so you know what you're dealing with, like this is an intelligence that is like beyond, right? Like it is very futuristic, except it's here right now. And we are still physical human bodies with like a heart and a soul and feelings.
And instincts, man.
And instincts. And it's all designed to like take us out of that and be impulsive and numbed out and just in a fear-faced world. And so we have to unplug ourselves. And this is where distraction and noise comes from. Like it's everywhere. And if we're spread so thin, I mean, we're going to break. I mean, there's a reason suicide rates are so high. Depression is so high. Anxiety is so high. Relationships are failing. Like,
well, it's so easy. 50%. That goes back to the whole fucking phone thing, right? Like I think we talked about before, is you got this phone or you got this machine in your hand that, you know, we could probably talk to a divorce lawyer through text messaging or through some sort of live chat, and you get all the paperwork sorted, and then you can find a fucking date on some other app, and just like it's all right there, just nonstop.
And this is the thing, that we're so plugged into everything else that we're lacking connection, like human physical connection. And, you know, I have seen online a lot where you can see a counselor or a therapist like right through your newsfeed, or like not through your newsfeed. There's ads for people, like just online counseling. And I mean, I do online coaching. So we still like, yes, we get in front of someone, but I think the ones I was looking at were more like just texting and writing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you're not even actually seeing the person or like having a conversation. I'm just like, that's still so disconnected.
Right.
I mean, mine's not person to person either, but at least we see each other's faces on Zoom and we're like speaking back and forth.
That's how that men's group too, right? Like I joined that men's group last year last spring, spring and winter. Yeah. And I've never met these guys aside from Dale. It's the only one I knew. Right. So everyone's just a screen in Zoom, but you have a connection. At least you can see their face, you can see reactions, and you catch those emotions.
Well, I think if there's a vulnerable experience, like a men's
coaching,
of course you're opening up, and you will have that connection still. Like that's an energy connection, right? You can have that for sure. I mean, you can have that through texting and writing as well. Everything is energy.
Just so much misconstrued though too, right? You can't see the person's face or hear their tone of voice when they're texting, so you don't know what that means. Or
that's true. Then you wonder what
you play it in your own head, like in the meanest, angriest voice ever.
Yeah. But also even like taking it off of Zoom into like person to person interaction, right? Like you were just saying, back in the day, you used to like go to someone's house for coffee or a beer, or my dad's a farmer in Saskatchewan. So like 10 o'clock, 3 o'clock, I don't know, maybe 8 o'clock. I don't remember. I think the times have changed since when I was little, but
they're getting older. So the times are getting less.
Yeah. But I think it's like 3 times a day. They just like, and remember you'd be working out in the field and you're just like, it's 3 o'clock. Let's go for coffee. Boys, yeah. And everyone gathers in the coffee shop and like does their little gossip, catch up, like what you up to? And then you're back to work.
Well, you have to, and that's how you solve problems. Like you couldn't just Google something or YouTube it. Like it was fucking
talk it out.
I remember guys would come. My dad was a farmer. Like we grew up on a farm, but he's funny because he was always like, "The hell do I call it?" He's like a farmer engineer, basically. Like he'd rig up something to anything, right? So I remember like always conversations at the table. Like I was just a little guy just hanging out, and it was always guys coming over just sitting at the table like, well, if a guy did this and a guy did that, and just to like put things together.
Yeah.
And that's, like there's just none of that anymore, right?
Yeah.
We just have none of it.
And we've talked about that before. Like for men, it's like a tribal thing, right?
Mhm.
Like men being together, and same for women, like women coming together, having their little gossip sessions, and just like they're, talking about womanly stuff,
Mhm.
nurturing, like all of that stuff. I mean, is it COVID? Yes and no. Like, of course, this past year has made things be even more disconnected, but it was already there. And I think it is these devices and everything that is designed to numb us out. Because even long before COVID, when you would be in a group, you see couples, everyone's seen this, you go out for dinner, and maybe you were those people. I mean, we've obviously been those people too. You go for a family dinner or even dates.
You're going on a date night,
and they're just literally sitting across from the table on their phones, or you're out with a group of friends and you're just checking your phone all the time. But like, I don't know, like what can be so important, like, and I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm expecting a message on Facebook, so I'll check it. Like sometimes when I'm out with someone else, and it's like, it's disrespectful.
It is. And the crazy messed up thing is that we should have a whole lot more time with all these devices and AI and all these other things that are supposed to be helping us. And now we have, I've used that excuse so many times, and everybody around me has. It's just like, oh, I have no time. I have no time. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, really, I don't know. Like, even myself, I couldn't really quantify. Like,
but again, it's the distraction and the noise. It's the quantity of stuff that we're focusing on, not the quality of stuff we're focusing on, right? So this is exactly what we're talking about more too. It's like we're so spread thin. Our nervous systems are wired. And so we're focused on those emails, those like alerts, those text messages, those phone calls, that TV show, going shopping, buying more toys, getting more things. And we're not focused on the person right in front of us.
Right.
No,
100%. I know for a fact I do that. Like you see an ad, and then I'll spend like 3 hours researching what that ad was, and then go to get it. And there's your night.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, now you got this piece of shit, whatever you got in your house. You're like, well, great.
Yeah. And I mean, that goes for me too. Like we were talking about this. So the time of this recording is just before the U.S. election.
Yes.
So we're a few weeks out here of releasing this episode, but I so easily can get caught up in everything. Like it's like it consumes me because I'm like, oh my God. And then like with elections and COVID and just all of the things, I'm just like a truth seeker, like through and through. And I'm just like, something doesn't make sense. And I'll just start following these rabbit holes and then researching this and researching that. And so same thing, all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, the whole like night is gone. And I just like totally
then you're
neglected myself.
And
like,
we just messed ourselves up for the night.
Yeah.
Like then you're just like either scared, worried, mad, angry.
Yeah.
Like you're just all these things.
Disbelief.
Yeah, I know, right? And just
Yeah, and then I didn't spend time on me, or I could have had a bath and read a book, or so I go through these ebbs and flows of that too, where I'm like super good at all my self-care and taking care of myself, but then there's moments where I'm just like caught up in all of it, which again is because of all of the noise. I allow myself to go there. So boundaries are huge, right? Like we talked about that in episode 26, right? Boundaries. So that's a huge one, because really what this all boils down to is becoming aware of what is drawing your attention. Where is your energy going? And then once you're aware of that, it's like we get to like reboot and like clear this space off, right? And we can slow down, and then we can add back in with intention.
Oh, so just like nutrition, anything, right? If you're not feeling good, cut out all the foods and then start reintroducing things.
Yeah, exactly. Because going back to if we're disconnected with ourselves, we don't know what lights us up. We talked about that. We don't even know like what our hobbies are, or what we want to build. And we're not connected to our inner guidance system either, right? Like call it your intuition, call it God, call it your soul. You're not connected. You're not listening to that. You're just kind of like going along with life. You're not connected to your health and making choices that support your health and help your energy.
And everyone has that. Like, fuck, we were not that long ago where we were out in the bush having to take care of ourselves. And you had to rely on your instincts. Like if you seen a guy that was fucking 30, mid 30s, you're like, holy shit, you survived, buddy. Awesome. Like, what have you been doing? Because I'm out here too, and like just got chased by a fucking cougar or something. And
Right.
Like it just, yeah, it's crazy that we're so far away from that. And it was really not that long ago. But
yeah, exactly. We just have different threats now, right? And it's
not getting them likes,
yeah, exactly.
that'll fucking drop you fast.
But then going into disconnect with your children, it goes back to, I think, summing up exactly what you said is react and regret, right?
Oh,
You react
massively,
because
yeah.
you're so triggered. You're not in your body in the present moment with your children on their level. So you get triggered, you react, and then you instantly regret it. And then that just brings on a whole new wave of emotions. And then
Spent so much
sucks.
time with Lennox and regret about stuff. It sucks.
And then with your partner, that disconnect, it really just, it's the like small moments that add up that cause that disconnect, right? Like a lot of people think, like I work with women, right, in their relationships, and they're like, I just don't know when it happened, but like he's just not present with us, or I just am not attracted to him anymore, or like I don't want, like, I just don't want to be here. And it's like, it didn't just happen overnight. You just realized it.
Yeah, there wasn't one thing. No.
But it was just this accumulation of all of these moments. Whereas in this moment now, though, and upon listening to this, we get to like have the conscious choice to create a change, right? And like we said earlier, we are by no means perfect. Like we are human beings, and we get caught up in the rat race too.
Massively,
but the cool thing is that we have that awareness, and we have each other to call each other out.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we call each other out, we are mad for a few moments, but then we don't stay in that, right? And then we use it as a moment to grow and evolve. So you can get there with your partner too, but it just takes you going there first.
Yeah, you have to.
Right?
Massively. You got to deal with your own shit, or else you're just going to portray that on the next person, or your partner. Like the one person that you shouldn't is the one you do. And
I mean, the cool thing though about like you owning your stuff, or like even just, you can't control anyone else. Like there's nothing outside of yourself you can control, but you can control everything, like all of your actions, right? So
yeah, especially right now, this should be the biggest magnifier. If you didn't believe that at all in your life before, that you can't control anything, like fuck that, I got control, I'm in a free country, da da da. It's like, no, you should know now that you can't even go get a fucking chocolate bar without someone telling you what to do, right? So you got to get control of yourself. That's the only person. If you're a control freak, control yourself.
Yes, exactly. Because that's where you'll find inner peace. That's where you can build on your confidence, make choices for your health.
It's everything, really, right? And it's just self-control. Like that's what happened. I wish I had more self-control with drinking. I don't. So I got to fucking rev that down. And then I was talking to Lennox a little bit about his day for fighting, because turned him into a fucking crazy boxer. That kid's doing stuff. You can tell by my face every week. It gets beat up pretty good. But I was telling him about control. Like it's every fighter you talk to about it, most people anyway, it's a self-control thing that, it's an inner knowing, like, yeah, I could fuck you up, but I'll probably break my hand and it's not going to help me anything. But you don't have to go, you're not wild, you're not a crazy loose cannon. Most guys that do anything involving like any kind of martial art or anything, they're very subdued people, because they have that inner knowing, they have that self-control.
Yeah. But this is like totally kind of off the wall and a little irrelevant, but you just made me think of this, like with gun control, because I know so many people who are like, guns are so bad, they should be out of the hands of citizens, blah blah blah. And maybe I'm getting controversial here, but it's exact same
We're not
thing.
on CJNS. It's okay. You can talk about it.
It's like the exact same thing, right? Like the gun owners are the ones who are trained. They have to have a license to own that gun.
Yeah,
we've done it. Like I have my gun.
The amount of paperwork you have to go through.
You have to claim like that you have to get so many people to like say you're not crazy.
Yeah.
Like all of the things.
The amount of people I had to pay to say I wasn't
right. And gun safety, the courses you have to go through.
And even just storage at home, like the amount of lockup and the amount of transporting to different gun ranges and things, like the things you have to do are just nuts.
Yeah. And so I think that like this just equates to like self-control.
It's perfect for it. Yeah.
It's just interesting, because people who think you shouldn't have guns are people who don't have guns and don't realize how protected it is. And it's like, criminals don't go through all of that stuff.
Yeah, they don't have a fucking trigger lock inside their case, bringing their ammo in a different lock in a different case.
Or registered guns.
Yeah, registered. So when I move, I got to fucking put paperwork into the fire chief. Like that's what they're called, firearm chief or whatever they are. But yeah, there's just so many things, and like criminals, da 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 da, like it's all the criminal on me. Like, yeah, buddy
the
scratches the
gangs.
fucking serial numbers off his gun, and then that's it.
Yeah. So anyways, this isn't noise and distraction. That was just like a random tangent that may lose a few followers, but may gain a lot.
No, that's sorry, I get fired up, but as soon as I hear what? But 100%, that makes so much sense with
it's
that.
just the self-discipline,
It
right?
really
like,
is, yep.
Follow through. And it doesn't mean that you're just this crazy wild person if you're disciplined or a fighter or a gun owner or whatever, right? Like, I don't know. It all ties together.
No, absolutely does.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That was kind of just random. Okay, so we talked about what that disconnect is costing you: inner peace, confidence, your health. But we want to make sure that we leave you with a challenge, a little bit of a challenge and some tools going into the next week to help you begin to clear that energy, shut off that noise, shut off the distractions so that you can be more present in yourself first. And then once you're more present in yourself, you can be more present with your partner. You can be more present with your children. And you can be more present with just like what your goals and your dreams and your hobbies are, right?
Well, get back to you. What do you want to do?
And I can tell you this, like men, ladies, when your partner is lit up, when like, I'll say it from a woman's perspective, and then why don't you tell from the man's, because we've talked about this before. Like, if Mike is in his purpose and he's like got goals and he's like, I'm going to do this and I got this and I'm doing this, or makes plans for us, like certain things where he's like taking the lead, I am like, ooh, hello, baby.
Take more notes on that. Hey.
Like when you step into that purpose, like it is super attractive. And I mean, I also think that in relationships, we ebb and flow. Like we could ebb and flow 1,000 times a day, going from like, I'm annoyed of you to like, oh, I'm so in love with you, right? And to varying levels and different degrees. But the moment that you like are lit up and excited about something that brings you purpose, I'm like so attracted to you.
No, 100%. I say I get emotional sometimes talking about with you because just watching you, we touched on how you're a coach, right? You help women and fuck, man, like watching you in those moments, and then when you come off of them, like listening to you talk and just ideas flying around, and you can see it in your face. There is an aura about people when they are lit up, and it's massive. And it's, again, like you just said, it's super attractive. There's nothing I can do to stop that attraction. Like it's there, right? You're in your radiance. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And that's, we all deserve that. And we all, like, there's no reason not to. There really isn't. I mean, and these times maybe these are on purpose to show us like what's important in our life and what's not. And, but 100%, I agree with you totally on that. When I see you doing what you're meant to do, holy fuck, it's awesome. It's amazing.
And kind of piggybacking off of what you said, like, yes, these COVID times have sucked, right? And, but it has highlighted for a lot of us what's important, like you said.
Good or bad,
There's been many good things in it. Obviously, there's been many not good things, but coming into this, I guess, like the last thing we'll say before we give a few points is you can't control your partner. And so many women come to me trying to control him, and it's not working, and they're frustrated and they're sad and they don't know what to do, and their marriage is over. I was there too. But focus on you. So when we say this challenge for the week, it's not about your partner.
No, don't try to draw him in or nothing. Like draw him or her in. Like it's not going to work. Yeah,
exactly. Because everything is energy, including us. We exude an energy. I was just talking about the masculine. You were just talking about the feminine within me. Everything is an energy and has a polar effect. And so you do the work on you. You set time aside for you. Your partner's going to gradually gravitate towards that with you as well, right?
Massively.
Way more than you sitting here saying, I heard this podcast and you should be doing this.
Yeah.
They said that.
That's exactly
right.
Yeah. Talking about them sit-ups so you can get them abs, that's for sure.
Yeah. So just do it yourself. If you're listening with your partner, then that's awesome. And you guys can do it together, then amazing if you're not already. But if you're just listening to this on your own, or if you're single, do this. And
if you're single, man, and you're doing this kind of stuff, you're gonna attract a partner that might not happen today, might not happen tomorrow, but that partner you attract, you're not gonna be weeding through the shit anymore. Like you're gonna find someone that's on your level, and if they're not on your level, you're not gonna waste your time with them. You're just gonna carry on and on to the next. Absolutely.
Well, I always say it's like we all have a frequency, right? Like we're a radio channel, and so where you're at in your energy and your body, as far as like how well you take care of your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body, you have a frequency. And so that's what you see on your frequency. That's what you attract to you on your frequency, because what you are goes out, comes back to you, right? So you're meeting people on the same frequency as you, like all of these things.
Right.
But as you start doing your own work and taking accountability for everything you are and everything you have in your life, then it's like you just turn the dial on a radio station and your frequency just changed to a different station. And now it's like, holy, where did these people come from? Or where did this opportunity come from? Or like, who's that hot guy?
Yeah. Fuck you, AM. I'm in FM now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So everything is a frequency. And this is how we begin. I mean, everything we ever talk about is essentially on the level of changing your frequency. But okay. So first and foremost, I think the challenge for this week should be to set a timer. If you have 2 minutes, everyone's got 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, start slow. Slow is better than nothing, or starting too fast and then just not doing it after like 3 days, like Mike's talking about, right? So start slow. Discipline is compounded moments. So like if it's 30 seconds, that's better than no seconds, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Sorry,
Okay,
I tried to do something
anyway.
there, but I had nothing.
Okay. So, and then just some tips. Shut off the notifications on your phone.
Yeah, that should be a no-brainer right off the start. Yeah.
Well, it should be, but you know what I didn't realize until just 2 days ago? I delete Instagram off my phone often. I don't even have the Facebook app on my phone. I only check it from my computer, but I delete the Instagram app off my phone quite often just so that I don't have that distraction.
Right.
Or I'm very intentional on like certain times of my day. And when the last time I re-added it onto my phone, so I haven't deleted it for 2 days, it always asks you like, do you want Instagram to send you notifications? And I always hit no. And I have for years and years and years. Like I don't even remember the last time I've been notified by any social media or anything on my phone, because I'm always just like, no.
Right.
But I think I accidentally hit yes somehow. Well, obviously I did, because keep getting notifications from Instagram that like so-and-so liked my thing or sent me a message or commented. And it drives me crazy, but I didn't realize that like people do that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because that's that little dopamine hit, right? Like you get a notification, like, ooh, yeah. So 100%, I could see that. And I guarantee they're gonna, whenever you reset it, they're gonna have all the settings are gonna default, right?
Every opportunity. So I mean, that's just you never get a break from that thing. Then it's just like bzz, bzz, bzz.
And that's how I was with emails. Like, fuck, man, I was so on the edge that my phone would like vibrate or ring or something. It's like you jump, you're just like,
right.
Shit, what now?
Yeah, expect the worst case, right? So another thing could be unsubscribing from your emails. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but I used to like go into my emails and it's like, you have 500 new emails. And like, even if you think that doesn't bother you, that is still energetically taking up space and awareness, like in your mind, in your energy field. It's just everything is like a cluttered house, cluttered closet. Everything is taking up your energetic space. So unsubscribe. Just every time you see like an email that you're like, who is this person again? Or why did I sign up for this?
Get that 10% off. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Just unsubscribe. And sooner or later, you'll start getting less and less emails, which is interesting though, because when you do, and you're used to checking all of these emails and you're like, I don't have any emails, or I don't have near as many, right?
Right.
It's interesting to see how you value like your worth, or even just like, yeah, I guess I would say your worth, like just on, okay, I don't have anything in my inbox. I used to have hundreds of emails, even though they were useless emails.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that's just like a metaphor for life, right? Like 1,000 useless things in your life, or like a few intentional things, right?
No, that's massive.
Another really big one, I think, is unfollowing and unfriending people on social media that don't make you feel good. And I'm not all like, oh, we should only do things that feel good. Trust me, I'm all about shadow side and facing our darkness. But like, if there's a person who consistently triggers you, or just like this is how I actually judge my Facebook or my Instagram, anyone I'm following or I'm friends with. If I was walking down the street and that person was walking down the sidewalk towards me, would I put my head down and turn my head the other way so that I could avoid like communicating with them?
Right.
If the answer is yes, then why are we Facebook friends?
Most people do that.
Unfriend. And And then obviously they stay if I would be like, oh, hey, like what's going on in your life? Like, how are you?
You can't even
blah,
get
right?
fucking 3/4 of the people on the phone, let alone, Yeah,
everyone avoids everyone. But that's the thing, right? Because I was like, I can just go like see their pictures on Facebook or see what they've been up to lately, where it's like disconnect. Like, so I think it's way better to unfriend people or like disconnect, because for one, you don't need to know like what the girl you went to high school with that you don't talk to anymore is doing every single day. I mean, maybe you do, but again, coming back to the energy, it's taking up space in your energetic field, in your mind.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But instead, call someone. You know that like telephone thing? That thing you hold in your hand, it actually calls people too. So you could dial their number.
That's so true, hey? It's actually a phone.
It has voices on the other side.
Yeah. No, it's hard.
And then airplane mode. I think that's a big one too. Like shutting your phone off, agreeing on a time of night and just putting your phone to airplane mode.
Well, I remember back like a couple of years ago, I remember we were trying to do like 7 or 8 o'clock and like shut your phone off or something like that, which is just just didn't happen, right? And then
you or me?
I think we wrote something about it, or it was something. I know we tried to make like a deal with ourselves, or it was pretty fucking aggressive and a lofty goal by all means. Oh. But even just airplane mode would be a massive.
Yeah, I don't really know what you're talking about.
You blacked out. That's how bad of an idea it was.
But I remember when we lived in London, I set my phone to airplane mode quite early in the evening because everyone here was sleeping anyway. So it's like, whatever.
Yes, yeah.
And then because I didn't want to receive messages early the next morning or in the middle of the night, right? So I just don't sleep with my phone in my room. Like it's in my office and I'm in my room. So I don't necessarily turn it to airplane mode, but it's in the other room. But if I do find myself like getting sucked into world events or trying to follow things, I'm just like airplane mode or like delete apps or just like make it harder on myself so that it's not just like a
instantly checking
an instinct, a habit. And you were saying before too that like some people might know, like you could list out the apps on your phone. I don't know if I wouldn't be able to write my apps out like in the order that they're in, but in my mind, like when I go to it, I know swipe 2 times, like there's Instagram, swipe back this way, there's that. So sometimes I actually rearrange them.
That's a great trick,
trick
even
my
just
mind.
that. Yeah. If nothing else, that's a really good one. Yeah.
But anyways, okay. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think that's enough, to be honest, right now. It's just, I know it's going to be hard on the system, especially if you're anything like, well, most of us is just on that phone nonstop, right? And they do make phones now. They've come full circle where they're making phones that just have nothing on them and they're only a phone. Or
are they?
Yeah.
Because 2 years ago, I was looking for that.
No, there was a Kickstarter. I got an email that it actually produced.
Did it go through?
Yeah.
Oh.
So they have a phone out that's literally a phone, and they might have Snake on it maybe or something. That'd be about it.
Right? Because remember a couple of years ago, or was that last year?
You were legitimately
I was off social media for 90 days and I was like, I do not want to come back to the real world.
Yeah.
And I literally just wanted like a flip phone so I could have to call in an emergency or like T9 text if I had to.
Yeah.
And they were like, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. So they got that was like, through a brand, right? Or TELUS or Bell or whatever. But no, this one just a Kickstarter that, they did it. And I got an email a little while ago, but it's production now. So there is that. That's obviously like the far end of the spectrum, but like I really like your idea of just even swapping apps around right now, like just to fuck up your brain a little bit.
Yeah, and you have to be more mindful in where
baby steps with it.
Because then in that moment, like before, like if you think about how often you reach for your phone and just automatically click on something, you're doing it without even thinking about it. It's just a total reaction.
No.
So if you do that, then when you go to it, you're like, oh, it's not there. Then suddenly you're conscious and you're like,
mindful of it,
oh yeah, what am I doing? Put this down. I don't need to go to it, right? Yeah. So you could even try deleting apps off your phone for the weekend or like baby steps. I don't have my emails on my phone at all.
Right.
So I can only check them when I'm at home on my laptop. And partially that was definitely for distraction, but also I was like, when I'm out, I don't need work.
No, and like I said,
most
things you can't solve those problems anyway.
No,
like then it just fills up your mind. Then you're just consumed by it, and then you're not doing anything productive.
Yeah.
For the problem or with that problem, whatever so be it, or whatever that is, and then you're not helping whoever you're with, whether it's a group of friends, family, partner, whatever that is.
And just filling your own soul, right?
Yeah, and you just feel shit.
And I know for me too, like with my clients, if I get emails or I get certain things, like I have to be in a certain energy to respond to them. I don't have to be. I choose to be because that's what they get from me, right?
Right.
So I mean, if I'm just like flying off the cuff doing things all over the place, then it's just not the energy I want behind it. So just remember that everything is energy, and energy is everything.
No,
I also just made that up.
That's perfect. You coined that one.
So Mike's going to coin the
Wrinkles,
wrinkly face.
So you're just comparing my fucking wrinkly face to a cracked cell phone screen?
And I have no idea if I just coined everything is energy and energy is everything, but I don't really know where I've heard that from, if I ever have. But the other thing was react and regret.
That one's a really good one because I fucking lived that a lot. So.
Yeah. So chill out. Chill the frig out is what I said earlier.
That friggin', yeah.
And create some space for yourself so that you can start to become more intentional of how you want to be filling your time and your energy so that you can show up for your loved ones and your partners from a totally different place.
Awesome. Well, that's perfect. I think that's the spot to leave her.
Also, though, please do send us a message, leave us a comment, leave us a review, or shoot us an email, DM us, whatever. We want to know how this stuff is working out for you. Like,
do it before you throw it on airplane mode, but
yeah, and before you delete the apps.
Yeah, but yeah, no, 100%. Love hearing that stuff. And again, if we use it for fuel, it fuels this. We don't need ideas or anything off anybody. We have a whole list of season 2 is basically full, but we just love the feedback, and it's great to hear that people are out there listening to us, and it's great to hear that, you know, we're not, well, maybe you are like drastically changing people's lives with this, but even just to hear like little wins, little steps, little anything, it's massive.
Well, that's the biggest thing. Your wins fuel us, right?
Yeah,
like it makes us feel good for sitting here and creating this for you. So, I mean, creating this for us too, right?
Oh, this is huge. Yeah, definitely myself anyway. It's hugely selfish.
Yeah. But okay, so next week we're going to talk about feeling and expressing gratitude and how that can alter everything in your life. But it should work out perfect because you've just cleared some space, and then we'll sink into more of that gratitude and appreciation and that kind of an awareness and how feeling it can alter your relationship.
Like it. All righty, buddy. I love you.
I love you too.
Love you guys. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at LaRocque Life Podcast and online at LaRocqueLife.com. Ladies, find Laura on social media at Laura LaRocque and online at LauraLaRocque.com. Have a request for a show topic? We love that. Send us an email at michael@LaRocqueLife.com or DM at LaRocque Life Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.